What up, folks? Getting Prime Truth Chasers here to talk about, something that's real in the community, man. Something that everybody has to do. I mean, we're not supposed to be getting around it, but somehow, some way, we find ways not to do the thing that I'm about to talk about right now. And it's shameful that most people don't do the thing that I'm about to bring up. It's called thinking. That's right, thinking. Why are people scared to think, or rather, to go deeper into it, why are people scared to draw conclusions off the facts that they gather? Why is that so controversial if a person was to say one plus one, but they scared to say two? I got verses in the call. I got B Fife and I got MD. Prominent figures in the sim community, smart dudes, people I talk to on Skype all the time. Say what up, fellas.
Going on?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes. Yeah. We it's
oh,
all
oh,
like
should I
all
do
light.
the
But
should
go
I do
ahead,
the
go
old
ahead.
school? Do
Hey,
the old
hey.
school? Hello. You know,
Yo, that's what I'm talking about, man.
that's an old school.
This is all
Nah,
off the
man.
head. And hey, just open it. Just what do you guys think about people being scared to think or to draw conclusions? Take it away.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Hey, well, come on, Versus. Let me go first.
Okay, go
Nah,
ahead.
nah, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
I think that as what we talked about earlier is that when you begin to think in the community, you start to draw conclusions. Now, that's obvious, but what doesn't happen is that people don't say it. They're afraid to say it in public because it brings accountability. And once you make a statement, once you say a game is good or you say a game is bad, or you're a casual gamer if you want, and this person is a sim gamer, now you're held to something. Now people have a reason or they have grounds to come at you if they want to. If you say you're a casual gamer, then they mock you for certain things. Or some people will say this is, you're welcome here because we don't care about the game like the nitpickers do, like the so-called simulation community. And some people will have the guts to stand up for what they present themselves as, whatever we do on this community. Some people will say, well, I'm a sim gamer, and they have no problem with it. But some people are afraid to say what they truly want and who they truly are in this community. And let's just pray that more people have the guts to stand up and actually stand for something.
I couldn't have said that better, man. You have any words, MD, to add on to that?
Well, to me, I look at the state of the community now, and it's mostly based on individualism and popular opinion. When this community was created, I think it was public opinion, but still everybody had their own individual mindset of how they felt about the game. Now, that's how the community was formed because it was all like-minded people, and that's how the public opinion was formed. But now that we have popular opinion, outweighing the public opinion of what the community was, I think that's where you got the turmoil, and it's not about people coming up with their own conclusions individually to form a public opinion. Now it's based on individual opinions being popular and others following it. So that's how I pretty much feel in a nutshell about what's going on right now.
Hey, well said. I agree, man. I definitely agree wholeheartedly with both you guys on this subject, And I think, I'm gonna use one of the words MD always uses. This is a microcosm of what's happening in reality, so to speak. It's like the epitome of what's going on in the world. As we have technical difficulties with B5, but we'll just keep it going. Um, like I said, people are scared to draw conclusions because what the conclusions would mean. As Versus said earlier in his call that wasn't recorded, he said the word accountability. People like once you draw conclusions, now it's almost an automatic thing to be accountable to the conclusion you just drawn from the facts or the truth that you gathered to come up to a conclusion that you're willing to stand on. And because of the nature of this community is playing video games, and these games come out every year and all of that, and being that this community was supposed to be started on the whole thing about being a simulation game. This is supposed to be a simulation community. People don't want to be accountable to that, because if the game is not simulation, then they don't want to draw a conclusion to saying that it's not, and that means that everything stops. You know,
Everything stops.
everything stops.
People, there are some in this community that will have the guts to stand up and say what they think. Like I said before, those are the good commentators in the community. Some of us are followers. Some of us will just stay in the comment section, or go in the forums and just follow whatever the masses are doing. If the masses are casual gamers and they say Madden or NCAA or even 2K is okay because they don't want to go against the grain, they'll just say, okay, well, I can't complain, because if I do, then I'll be part of this little group over here who gets called nitpickers, complainers, and the people who most people don't have respect for. The casual gamers look down on sim gamers. And again, there are those who have the guts to stand up and say who they are, but there are those who don't, because the party will be over. If I make a video and I'm talking about Madden 25, let's say Madden 25 comes out, and I make a video, and the next day I come out and say Madden sucks. Now those who like Madden have no reason to come to my channel. So why would I ever come out and say Madden sucks? If I say Madden is a good game, those who think that Madden do suck, why are they coming to my channel? So for me, or for the person who wants to keep the party going, they won't make a conclusion, because that gives them access to all these people out here, because now there's a reason to come to my channel. Those who hate Madden can come to my channel. Those who love Madden can come to my channel, because I haven't drawn a conclusion yet.
Yeah.
Right. And to your point, talking about followers, in every community there's leaders, you know what I mean? So in a sense, following, couldn't be a bad thing, because as long as you following what you stand for, you know what I mean? Where the outbreak comes is when you're following someone and you see their stance change, and you have fear of coming to the conclusion that this person's stance changed, you know what I mean? Because you're a standard follower, you just follow whatever this guy says, or whatever's popular at that point. Being a leader is all about standing for what you believe in terms of any principle. Like Apex say, even in significant as a football video game. But when you have followers that just blindly follow whatever the stance may be, that's where you have, the breaking of the barrier, so to speak, as far as a community is concerned.
Most people, or what I've come to learn, is that the standard, it should be upheld, because if you don't have a standard, then anything goes. And I've also learned that many people will change their standard. Many people standard is lower than we thought. Some people's standard is higher than we thought. But because there's always that possibility of being higher or lower, it is very hard to come out and say, okay, everybody, let's all agree on something. Who's going to come into this community and gather everyone and say, let's come up with a standard. Let's all be accountable for something. Let's all stand for something. When is that going to happen? Who's going to gather the masses to make that happen? Is the question that I'm still struggling with today. When every time I look at this community, every time I make videos or I go and watch someone else's videos, it's all about who's who is going to be that guy. You know, is it going to be me? Is it going to be Moody? Is it going to be the Sim Standard? But is it going to be the Sim Heads United? It's got to be someone that's going to bring everybody together and actually be held accountable for something. You know, and it can't be everybody. It can't be a standard over here with the Sim Standard. It can't be the Sim Heads United has a standard. It can't be I have a standard, because that's nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But that the plot thickens right there, because now if you have people that go off and they go off the trail, so to speak, and they refuse to come back, do you sacrifice the original standard for the people, or do you let them go and continue on with the supposed standard?
Well, I think, I mean, that's kind of a tough question, because now that it really is, it's not a standard that has been established as far as how the community is now. Then the question becomes who mandates what's the standard. You know what I mean? It used to be a mandated set of rules we went by, but because of the whole calamity of what happened in terms of people's stance changing, now it's like all those blocks that were built have been torn down, and we're trying to figure out which order they go in. You know what I mean? And from any other group, it's like saying who considers this block to go in this position. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the problem that we're in now. If we can all come together somehow and conform the set of mandates and do it in a corrective manner collectively, then we can go somewhere from there. But until then, it's to say, who's to say this is the standard? That's the ultimate question. Who's to say this is the standard?
There's got to be someone, because believe it or not, the casual gamers, they have a standard of their own. And just look on the forums. They're typing away about what they want, what drugs they want, what shoes they want. They have standards also. This sim community is it's on life support. It's here, but it's barely holding on. And we're outnumbered by the casual gamers. I mean, it's tragedy. But like I said, casual gamers, they have standards. The sim community needs a standard also.
Hey, JayMusic just came in and called. Hey, Jay, what up? This is all live. He's shooting a video right now talking about people being scared to think or draw conclusions about games and even life. And, you have any words about that, man? Jay, I know you just coming in here and it's off the head, but, you're doing everything on the fly. You have any words,
I don't know, man. I'm almost tired of talking about the community. Let me honest with you.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, man. You have any words for the people? Talk about your disgust, without the little, cursing and all that. But talk about your disgust, man. This is the forum. Tell them why you mad, man.
I'm not mad. I'm cool. It's almost just comical now. To be honest with you, I'm not angry at whatsoever.
I don't blame you, man. And now we got AkaBPhife back in the call. We still shooting. So AkaBPhife.
Oh, okay.
You have any thoughts on this on the matter? We still on the same topic?
Yeah, but the only problem is my device might die again. I was hoping we could shoot that at later on. Well, I mean, I'll just chime in now because I was going to charge it up. But I got a quick thought. I just wanted to let you know when I cut out, it's not me.
Okay.
So I love to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was last said, or what have you. But yeah, it will catch me up actually. I don't want to speak.
We were just basically saying Versuz and MD was chiming in, basically explaining why people are scared to think on their own, because of, if they pretty much say what they really feel, or if they draw conclusions based on the facts of what happened, then people get scared off. and MD was
Okay.
getting into the dynamics of that as well as Versuz. JayMusic7 just came
Ooh,
in.
ooh. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up on that. But okay, so check this out. If we're talking about in relations to YouTube, or if we're talking about in relations to just real life, what
Well,
context you?
we're starting with the video games, and then we're gonna end up at that as well.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of maybe advance a little bit and go to just like YouTube as a whole, I guess.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of funny because like when you look at people's channels and like the growth, because I mean we've seen a lot of people grow. We've seen a lot. We have subscriptions. We've been with people for a while or whatever, or vice versa, and it's kind of funny that the introduction of the business side of YouTube has tainted people's opinions and thoughts, and like you said, people are scared to think, people are scared to say their opinions because they don't know who's listening. People want to be noticed, or people don't want to be noticed. I mean, I've always kind of felt like YouTube was just about saying what you want to say. It wasn't about whether or not you're saying the right thing. And so now, like I said, with the introduction of all of this financial gain or career enhancement, you get discovered, that type thing, or whatever, like a star search almost. You don't remember that? Remember that Ed McMahon out there?
Ed McMahon, yes.
Hey, that's what YouTube is now. It's the new star search, But you know what? Here's the thing. But I just feel like that element of YouTube has just really tainted the wholesomeness of just seeing people, being themselves on YouTube.
Right.
Like for instance, like it's a small thing, but it's something that's noticeable. Like I'm gonna do something just to prove that there's no harm in this. Okay, I'm gonna prove something. Now, this is the first time I think this has been done on YouTube, or at least that I know of. I want to give a shout out to my man ApexisGideon Prime. I want to give a shout out to JayMusic. I want to give a shout out to Versuz Television V2. I want to give a shout out to my man MD20. You know what I'm saying? Check in with him. I'm checking in with him right now. Now, what I just did was, that's never been done, is actually give somebody a shout out while they're actually talking to them on the video. That's never been done. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I do that, I'm just being silly. But the reason why I do that is because shout outs now have become YouTube currency.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like shout outs, like you get to you listen to somebody video and they'll say, hey, I did this and that, such, I heard this. Yeah, I'm not really gonna say who it is or whatever, but yeah, somebody around here. It's like when did shout outs become some type of cigarettes or something, or some type of dollars? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man,
it's like people skip. What's up?
It's like people. Everybody think that TMZ is following them. Like you go out to get the mail and no, what's he gonna do next? Like people are actually counting how many times a person blinks their eye. Like everybody's LeBron James now. But yeah, continue, B.
Nah, I mean, I'm just showing you like to the extreme of how people have changed. Because I remember when I first started the akaBPhife channel, I mean, I used to do a thing called Channel Blast. I mean, y'all remember 360 Beast?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like he came to my channel and I did something called, Channel Blast. This was just basically me highlighting, some of my followers. I said, hey, this is a dude that I think you should check out, Mr. 360 Beast. I mean, or I was always quick to be able to say, take a look at this dude, because it was never about me. I mean, I'm just saying, it was never about me. Like, once I got to like 3,000 subs, I stopped that channel and I went back to this other channel. But my point is this, is like, I feel like people want to they just want to capitalize in all aspects, and sometimes it's like it's good, and I can understand why. When you start making like say Chris Smooth money, you know what I'm saying? Where you out here, because he was out here in San Francisco. I saw his video. He's out here living lavish. I mean, that's cool. I can't knock on anyone that wants to make that YouTube scratch, but it's just kind of, it gets to the point where it's like, are you the same person? And I'm not talking about Chris. I'm not talking about Chris Smooth. I'm just saying, are you the same person now as when you started, or does that even matter?
See, to me, I would say that it really doesn't matter to me, because I think people can do whatever they want to do in life. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what content you put up, or if you started a certain way and you're not there anymore. But what matters to me is, do you have morals? Because you can fluctuate your content on your channel. That's up to you. But at what expense to gain subscribers and to be known as that public figure? Right. What will you not do? Will you give random shout outs just so that you can get them in return?
That's a very articulate way of putting it, and I agree with you.
The cigarettes.
Right.
B5 says the cigarettes. The shout out cigarettes, the nicotine shout outs, man.
Yeah. I mean, and with
SOS.
I mean, Versuz brings up a really good point. I mean, obviously that's why it's called YouTube. You do you on YouTube, but here's another way to think about it too. Versuz is just to be objective, excuse me. If you're a subscriber and you subscribe to a dude that does, he likes watching, just these little skit flicks or whatever, these little cat boxing videos or whatever, and you now switch it up and you start doing, you start cutting lawns or whatever, and now you have a subscriber base or a base that you have built a channel on that knows you for one way, and now you switched up the content, and
But see, I know what you're trying to say. That's on the subscribers, because what you're supposed to do, what I try to do is I try to be all around on my channel. They're supposed to come to my channel to watch me, not because I'm talking about Madden. They're supposed to be coming to listen to Versuz talk. That's what you're supposed to do. I think what most people are doing.
But
the content that I have is, to me, it's irrelevant, because, like I said, I want them to come to listen to me just talk about whatever subject. That's what I'm intending to do. So if I'm talking about NCAA, and then tomorrow I'm talking about Madden, there's still football. That's a bad example. But if I'm talking about, let's say, NCAA, and then tomorrow I'm talking about politics, I would want them to listen, because, them having the experience of listening to me. I want them to like me, not my content, because then I'm just selling content. That's where you get the people who are putting up videos trying to capture people with just the titles, but their content sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I do. I don't say everybody has to do it that way.
Well,
let Jay talk.
Oh, I was just gonna say it depends, cause like it depends on when that subscriber first saw you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was gonna say.
Okay.
I mean, and also, like, it's a difference between having entertainment, just doing videos for entertainment purposes, and expressing how you feel about a certain subject on YouTube. Once you do that, well, whether you like it or not, a public opinion is formed, because obviously people watching your videos. So once you form that public opinion and people agree with what you're saying, even though they have their own mindset of how they feel about it, in some form or fashion, their argument coexists with what you're saying on your video. Now, with that being said, if you're doing it for entertainment purposes, I think people need to come to their own conclusion as to why you're doing the video you're doing. Now, if you...
But I would say, I don't mean to cut you off, but I would say the subscribers don't pay you. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but they don't. Do they pay the commentators?
I mean, of course
I
not.
mean, because so do you owe an obligation to your subscribers on Simheads United to only talk about football?
No, I mean no. But
And I'm not saying it's right to just switch the I mean, it's not right, but there's no like legal obligation that you have to just talk about Madden or. I mean, it's your YouTube channel. But it's respectable. I agree. It is showing respect and to your subscribers because they did string along while you talked about Madden or whatever. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, with me, I mean, people got pissed at me, man. People was mad with me when I.
And how did you feel about that, though?
Well, me personally, I felt great, because at the end of the day, and I know this is going to be controversial what I'm about to say, but for me personally, I caught myself getting lost in the on the island of geekdom or geek island.
But think about it like this. I don't mean to cut you off, and I understand I'm cutting people off, so I'm gonna stop that. But
Yeah.
how does it make you feel that those people who supported you for that long, in the end, it was only Madden, the game, the reason why they were there, not because of Apex, but because of a video game. Like, how did that make you feel that when you decided to talk about something you really believed in and you really wanted to talk about, that they abandoned you, and it was a disc, the real reason why they were staying on your channel.
Well, it's just revelatory. It just shows you what people are about, and I think that's a common. Now, I mean, that's when I did that, I kind of knew it was gonna happen. I just wanted to see how long it would have took, and my channel was hacked, so I never would have known that. So that's the only thing I do kind of regret about my channel, losing my channel, is the fact that I wanted to see how long it was going to take, almost like a social experiment, so to speak, you know. But that's an interesting topic right there.
But
Versus,
see, I kind of felt like it wasn't Madden the reason why I was listening to you. I was listening to your channel because of you, and I thought that I thought it was kind of bad that the way that your subscribers abandoned you when you wanted to talk about something you really believed in. That's why I say you have the choice to move your content in the way you see fit, and people should. Your content should be something. It's like presentation. It should carry them along. It should bring them in to finding and discovering who you are, and that way you can talk about anything you want. And it's a shame that those people didn't stick by you. I mean, I stuck by your channel. I still watch your content because it was you who I was watching, not Madden. I mean, it's a video game, but you were an interesting person. You had interesting perceptions on things, and it was interesting to hear someone who was intelligent talk. That's what I got out of watching your channel more than you educating me on Madden. That's why I thought your subscribers should have stuck with you.
yeah, I understand. I mean, I think I even made a video about it, talking about the ad hominem effect, or I forgot what the name of the video was, and I have to go into my old computer to get some of those videos. If I think I do have them. I'll have to crack open my old computer, but I kind of suspected it, and I knew it was going to happen because it always happened in history. Whenever you went down that path, it was going to be a lonely path, and I'm cool with the results of that, man. But not to stray off the main topic, which is being free.
Yeah. We always end
And
up
that's
getting
cool,
back to.
and that's cool and everything. But being free thinkers, man. Not being scared to draw conclusions, man. Because if you draw those conclusions, you're a hater now. Like if you say, "Hey, look, it's not there, therefore I'm not getting it because I'm supposed to be a sim head." You see what I'm trying to say? That kind of
Yeah.
microcosms in life. Like whenever you draw conclusions, you know, people, and
Mm-hmm.
if you talk about the truth, people get angry, and you
hmm
almost have to get ready and be ready to fight for the truth or what you believe. I mean, what do you guys say on that?
I mean, me. like I said, I think it all goes back to the whole follower complex and being part of something popular, as
Yeah.
opposed to being part of, a public opinion. Public opinion and popular opinion are two different things. In my opinion, I guess. Um, like I said, going back to when you start making videos and the original community, it was all based on public opinion. Just to throw the sim community quote unquote in there. I looked at your videos, or I looked at Versuz video, or I looked at Moody, whoever, because I felt, not to say I didn't disagree with some of the things that were being said, but the essence of what sim was, everybody was in agreement with it. Now, where you coming to your own conclusion, it was about how you perceived that certain video in terms of how you felt sim was. And because everybody did that, the community was able to grow. And we were ultimately, because we came to our own conclusion individually and formed, discussions through videos, and everybody was doing videos and comments. As a result of all these things being done, we basically came to a conclusion where, or the leaders and the commentators and people that were commenting videos saying say 65.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
That was a bomb, so to speak, of everybody coming to their own conclusion.
I agree.
You know,
Yo, I definitely agree. That Save 65, people used to diss me before I was started to say Save 65, because they used to say stuff like, well, if you think the game is so whack, why are you buying it? Why are you buying it? You keep on complaining. You're the nitpicker. And I really had nothing to say against those guys.
right?
Yeah.
It took me like a year and a half to get to that point to say save 65. It took me Madden '09 during Madden 10 came out. By the time during that campaign of Madden, after the game dropped, during the year, I just got tired of the people saying you're complaining, you're a nitpicker, and all of this. And that's when I hit them with the whole save 65 stuff. I was doing the save 65 stuff before I joined the Sim Standard. Like, it was a sentiment that was, I wasn't pumping it hard, but I used to say and I still believe that to this point, as far as how people view this whole EA sports football thing, is if you don't have running and blocking, which is the two foundational pillars in a so-called football game, that if you cannot surpass what you used to do, then you cannot be a simulation community. You could be a football gaming community, you could be a pep rally, but you can't be a sim community in all honesty. And then the part I don't like when people use that whole sim word with like some type of cliche, and that's not even the case, because they're not sim, because they're not appreciating the sim aspects. It's all about what people like and what their favorite
Yeah,
thing is, and they're not comparing it to real football, or at least 2K football. They just like it, and there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with them liking it, but you're not a sim community, and it's okay. But so I compared it to the whole illustration. Is like, if I'm playing a flight simulator, and then some other guy gives me the arcade game 1942, where it's a plane that flies and shoots down World War II stuff, and the plane could do loop-de-loops and to avoid enemy attack and all that stuff. If you tell me that that's a simulation game, yo, that means that you're lost. That means you can't acknowledge any type of reality. It's something as insignificant as video games. So if you could be lost about a video game, what, like, it's getting bad out here, yo. You know, and that's my whole point. It's not something that you have to delve into. If you like the game, like the game. I never knocked anybody for liking Madden. I think I was one of the first dudes to say that. But people hear what they want to hear. But
right.
if you like the game, fine. But why call it sim? Because what? You think being sim makes you a better person? You think
Right.
being sim, like, there's some type of elitism, like you're an elitist now? Hey, I'm sim and you're not. Therefore, I look down to you, and you.
It
Right.
takes more energy to go against the grain. Why stand on the side with the sim gamers, let's say there's 80 troops there. I stand on that side when there's 100,000 casual gamers who will back you up in the comment section on forums. It's much easier to stand on that side. And it wasn't about being heard when we were making videos. It was we were already being heard, as you say. We were already being heard. Our videos were already being watched by the devs and things like that. It wasn't about that. It was about getting the demands met. And in order to do that, we had to take a stand. Everybody had to take a stand. And we weren't like Martin Luther King banging on people's doors trying to say march in the streets with us. We were making videos. And people were getting behind them and saying, if you feel like this, if you feel like the computer is cheating you, you feel like you're throwing away $65 year after year, then take a stand, just like we are. And you don't have to, but this is what we're doing. This is it. So if you want these things to be fixed, if you want, fundamentals in the football game rather than new Nike cleats, then do what we're doing. Just we were being an example. And nowadays, there's no more stand now. It's all about giving them more time. Like I said, we're getting ready to be on PlayStation 4 here. And I know there's a lot of people out there, excuse me, who are not that old, but Madden has been around for a long time. I mean, it's been around for a while now. And the fact that there isn't the basic fundamentals, here. You don't need that much disk space to apply the basic fundamentals of a game to make it successful. You don't need, you can do it in a way where you don't need I don't know how much disk space is on the new PlayStation disc, or how much power the PlayStation 4 console is. You don't need that much. We need to stop blaming the technology and saying, oh, well, we got to wait because it doesn't have enough power. What, it doesn't have enough power for double team pass blocking? Yeah. We're supposed to believe that.
And it's funny because, like, you take that same argument of disk space and data, this, that, and the third, and apply it to the next generation consoles. If the core fundamental aspects are still not there, if we're using that logic of disk space, if we use that same logic and put it in the backdrop of the next generation, and the core fundamentals are still not there, what does that mean as far as this community is concerned? You know what I mean? And these are the type of things that you got to take into account when you talk about the quote-unquote sim head.
Yeah, thank
you. If it's about looking at it from a certain aspect, if we're waiting on next generation and the core fundamental aspect's still not there, and now we have the quote-unquote disk space to do what we need to do, and it's still not there, then what's the ultimate factor?
Hey, they don't care. A lot of people don't care. They just want to make videos, and they want to keep the hamster wheel going. And that's the part that I'm against right there. It's like you got grown men that are willing to be on a hamster wheel about a video game. Video game hamster wheels. I mean, how bad is that? How sick is that, yo? And why can't people just draw conclusions? Like, the whole Save 65 thing, like, I still feel good about it. I mean, I look at the NCAA in the videos, I'm like, oh, come on. It take me 3 seconds of looking at it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to buy that no more. Because when I used to have it, like when I used to have my games, like, they were collecting dust. Like, even All Pro Football 2K8, the offense, I can sit there and I can do one play a whole bunch of times. I could run up the gut a whole bunch of times, or I could be in the pass pocket 100 times. Just practice. But I wouldn't want to play defense. I wouldn't want to play run defense. Because in my opinion, the run defense in All Pro Football 2K8 was horrible. I mean, if you can have the best defensive tackle in the history of mankind, he will just knock over the offensive lineman, and the running back will run by him over and over again. So what's the point of having a good defensive tackle? Stuff like that. So that's why I was able to put these games down, because God gave me the ability to think. Like, you know what? Something stops me from believing that it's simulation is the shortcomings of the programming, which is the fault of the devs. But because people want to
Yep.
go down to community day,
Yeah.
oh, they can never blame the devs because they might not like me. And that's the part that I always objected. Community day, game changers, these are all PR moves. I don't care what anybody says. And that's all comes from thinking. Why can't people think? If you think, then you're a hater. 1+1 is 2. The game changers are not going to change the game. All they're going to do is they're going to justify the pace that EA is choosing to drive at as far
There
as
you
these
go.
games are concerned. And that's it. But if I say that, now I'm a hater. I'm,
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
a hater
yeah,
if you say that.
I'm a hater for thinking. You see, like, if I'm a hater for thinking, I mean, am I a human? Like, I'm what they want me to be, a chimp? Like, like
A drone.
a drone. They want me to be a drone now. I mean, chime in on that part of it. I mean, J Music, what you think about that, man? Just keep it real.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just wanted people to think. I always wanted people to think. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Like I said, once again, it goes back to the aspect of popular opinion. Now that the quote unquote sim community is based on improvements and how I feel personally about the game, it is
It's not
sorted.
a community then.
I mean, I'm getting to that, but what I'm saying is it's distorted what sim was supposed to mean. And it's a means of justification. If I say this, that, and the third about the game, and I consider myself sim, and it's my opinion, nobody can take it away from me. Who's to say what the next man says is sim?
There you
And
go.
you know what I mean? It's all based on mandate. It's no mandate, and now
Thing is,
because go ahead.
no, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, now I said it earlier. The question becomes because there is no leader that is standing on what the original position of sin was. It comes down to who's to set the mandate of how we supposed to look at the definition of sin. Until that gets done, it's always going to be conflict.
Sim, I
That's
was going
it.
to say it's going to be determined by the intelligence of the gamer. If you put a Madden game in front of a child, they may be blown away by it, because they don't, they may know a little bit about the rules, but they won't have the intelligence to know what's missing. And a lot of people, when they play Madden, or if they play NCAA, and I like NCAA, some don't have enough intelligence to know what's missing. And that's not a bad thing because we've all been in that position before. I've learned things from Apex. I've learned things from Moody. I've learned things from everybody. Some people have learned things from me. But it's got to be someone who has the intelligence, because if you don't have the intelligence, then you can be fooled that anything is sim. You can, if your intelligence is only so far, Madden will appear sim to them. That's why when people say that they like Madden, I say, okay, you like Madden, I'm okay with that, because maybe fundamentals and route jumping and things like that, it doesn't matter to them. And they don't care about it. Some people don't have enough intelligence to know what's going on, what the AI system is doing. Some people do. And it just so happens to be that more people don't care, or they don't have the intelligence, and they're casual gamers. And there's nothing wrong with being a casual gamer. Casual gamers are equivalent to the sim gamers. But they outnumber the sim gamers. And until that change, then sim gamers are out of luck. And the standard will be set by the casual gamers, which will be new Nike gloves, new uniforms, roster updates, things of that nature. That will be number one in EA's mind, because that's going to maximize their sales, is to appeal to them. So what we need to do, or what the sim community needs to do, is put out intellectual videos that can say, okay, you may be a casual gamer, but if I break it down and show you what the AI is doing to you, and explaining to you why you're breaking your controller or turning Madden in after 2 weeks, if I can do that, then they will become a sim gamer. Most casual gamers would be sim gamers if someone broke down a video in front of them. It happened to me. It happened to pretty much everybody. Like, think about the commentators who have educated you on something. At least one person has.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, fellas, I'm gonna end the video right here. What is it, like almost an hour of speaking? I'm gonna end it right here. I don't know. This might be a part two, and I'm gonna put it up on one of my channels. And we have 45-minute mark. I'm gonna end it right here. So, Truth Chasers, versus MD JayMusic signing out. B52. Yeah, technical difficulties and all that, but no, it's all good. See you guys later, man. Peace.
Check in with me, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any leaving pleasantries from you guys?
I
No,
would be welcome.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing before we go. We have to understand once again, like Apex said, what things mean. We have to come to conclusions based on our stance on anything. You know what I mean? Until we can do that, popular opinion will always win, and that's what it is.
And let me say something too while I'm thinking about it, because I'll put this video up on my channel as well. These are our thoughts and ideas on what we think. Everyone is free to think and judge for themselves. You have your own mind. You have your own conscience. Speak out what you thought you agreed with. Speak out what you disagreed with. What we say isn't like the 10 Commandments. So feel free to comment and do what you need to do to express yourself, just like we just express ours.
Okay, you're fair enough, man. I'm gonna give the video to all you, and you guys can put it on your channel. So everything is, freedom. It's all freedom here. It's about freedom of thought, man. If you can't think freely, man,
There you go.
then you might not be a man, because the last time I checked, animals were slaves to their primal instincts, whereas man has a choice between his conscience and his primal instincts, or as the Bible would put, his flesh. So we don't want to be chimps. We don't want to be bears. We don't want to be birds, anything like that. We just want to be able to think and be brave enough to draw conclusions and to be accountable to them as we move on in thought. Because the Bible says, come, let us reason together. We could reason about something as insignificant as Madden, NCAA, EA Sports, 2K football, whatever. Any last words, Jay?
No, no last words, man.
Hey, as you can tell, Jay's pissed off.
You're not pissed.
No, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's done with it. I'll put it like that. And he has a right to be. That's the best thing to do. That's the best way to be, is to be dead to this. Because, in my personal opinion, this community, they don't deserve a simulation game. They deserve a game that'll make everybody happy. And they're not basing that on simulation. They're basing it on graphics, like how Versuz says, cleats. So they need to have a game that everybody can just be cosmetically happy. And people are settling. And that's okay. But just don't say you're a sim community. That's my only point. So walk in the light. Be truthful. Like, look, I used to like sim, but I got tired of waiting, so I'll take anything. Hey, let's all join up and be in a dynasty. We can make tons of YouTube videos, get tons of subs and views. Keep it real with that. A pep rally, so to speak. But I'm going to end it right here, fellas, man. Peace.
All right.